Welcome to my channel. This is Bruce the Boss, and I am just about ready to come off of another 2-week suspension. I seem to like my time out, but I just have to say your continued support of my channel and the content really means a lot. So if you're watching this and you are not yet subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, smash on that subscribe button, like this video, comment on this video, even share the video. Your interactions on this channel go a long way with ensuring that the man or the system that is trying to create a one narrative propaganda story throughout the world does not win in their suppression. Because what got me suspended was I did a video 2 weeks ago, literally the day of the exposure of the Fauci leaked emails, which if you want to watch it, feel free to go ahead and check that video out on my Rumble page. I'll put a link in the description box below. And feel free to follow me on Rumble, as I'll have to put a lot more content up to back it up on there, as freedom of speech does not seem to be an issue with Rumble like it is with YouTube and or control of the narrative. But I digress. So for a small channel like my own, and despite the shadow banning that YouTube has been doing, which yes does include them not sending notifications to many of my current subscribers of my latest content, and they've notified me of such in videos that they just happened to stumble across, and they mentioned it in the comment section. I'm like, whoa. A couple of my last videos started to take off, like the one I did on the firecrackers and or explosive device being thrown at Jews in the Diamond District of Manhattan. Just exploded, 3,000 views. I'm like, oh my God. And the Fauci email was starting to take off very similarly, getting massive amount of views in a short amount of time. But despite the fact that there were no issues with anything, audio, picture, nothing, upon completing the video, uploading the video that Wednesday morning, all of a sudden after a couple hundred views, some number of people started noticing, hey, your audio from the 3 minute mark, 3 minutes to 4 minute mark, no, 3 minutes to 5 minute mark was starting to act up. I'm like, I didn't do that. That wasn't there before. This is weird, but okay, during my lunch break, I'll reshoot, I'll re-upload, and that was that. It was going to be disappointing because that meant I had to remove that one video and start all over statistically, which I really didn't want to do. It was starting to really take off. It sucked having to start from scratch, especially for such a small channel. Again, much appreciate your support. But I re-uploaded and sent it out, and sure enough, it started to take off once some more, gaining a lot of momentum. In fact, was on pace to picking up where it last left off in terms of view count, likes, etc. Then next thing I know, I get a strike from YouTube. Now, the strike initially said that I violated the community guidelines as opposed to spam content. I'm like, spam? The only way you can really get to that is to say, okay, I am uploading the same video multiple times, twice, but I removed the one because of the audio issue, completely removed it, deleted it, and just re-uploaded it again because there was no way to fix the audio issue that I swear YouTube must have put and or created. But they made sure they stopped it because I was able to correct the audio issue, and now it's like, all right, let's find another way to stop this Fauci email story from really getting out there, or what he said, which is all I did. I didn't put or input my own personal opinion. You can see for yourself in the Rumble video. All I really did was read from his emails, state what he was saying privately in the emails to his colleagues, and just comparing to what he was saying personally. For the most part is what I was doing. It was all Fauci, what he was saying and what privately, what he was saying publicly. Another Hillary Clinton situation, situation, have a private and public position, but I digress. And so that was all I did in the video, but they tried to say it was spam. So I appealed it. They came back, as always, never truly researching it, I believe, because they're shipping out, they're pretty much shipping out their appeals department, because I don't believe it is United States English speaking individuals who are reading it, but rather it is, foreign viewers and or foreign appeal agents, so to speak. But they came back, said, no, we still reviewed it. It did not meet it still failed our community guidelines. It violated it somehow. Now I go in there, and in order to justify that, despite my clarification of what happened in terms of spam, they're now labeling it medical misinformation. But I guess only Dr. Fauci and the mainstream media is allowed to be wrong, so to speak. Not that I was wrong on anything, but I'm putting out their information. They're allowed to say whatever they want one week, change positions another week or another month, whatever the case may be. But because it's coming from them, Dr. Fauci, the World Health Organization, again, despite the many flip-flops they've had on many issues, so long as it's coming from them and it's one unified, singular, objective narrative, it's okay, apparently. So again, your support and interaction on this channel goes a long way. I really appreciate it. Now that goes on to another topic I want to really discuss in today's video. Late breaking news story on, I don't know if you heard, Texas's own Ivory hacker.
My question is very simple. Why are you doing this?
It affects the viewers. That's why I'm doing this. The viewers are being deceived by a carefully crafted narrative in some stories, okay? In some areas, they do fantastic journalism. For some reason, some of these stories have an incredible slant, and if you accidentally step outside it, they try to internally destroy you. As I've witnessed firsthand, that affects the viewers. That does not just affect me.
Are you?
I'm so horrified at what the news business has stooped to. At this point, I want out of this narrative news telling. I want out of this corruption.
Corruption, that's a strong word.
I want out of the corruption. I want to tell true stories without fear of whether it fits the corporate narrative.
The corporate.
Ivory hacker sacrificed her career and her livelihood so that we, the people, could know the truth, so that we can wake up to the lies that they're telling to our vision regarding these news networks. She herself, too, had woken up to what was going on, and she felt that it was her obligation to inform the people at large. This is what you're feeding yourselves. This is what's happening. But let's go on to what actually happened, the story that started the whole controversy. Let's roll. She did a story with Dr. Joseph Varan, the chief of care at United Memorial Methodist Hospital, I believe, in Houston, Texas. And I'm not going to play the little clip from the Project Veritas video as it pertains to the whole interview, because they talk about a drug that could get me struck. And once more, without me actually saying it, like with the Fauci video where I did not say anything about a particular drug, I just shared the screen that showed it. So I'm not going to play it, but she did an interview with Dr. Joseph Varan regarding the success of a particular drug they had and or were using at their hospital, and the reason why she made that, well, I'll let her explain her reasoning.
I asked that question because I was getting those tips from the viewers. And that was a story, by the way, that Susan and Lee sent me there to cover the COVID treatments at that hospital. I just wasn't supposed to ask that question.
So despite her trying to answer the questions from her own viewers in Houston and, or should I say, the Harris County area in Texas, well, I'm from San Antonio and Bexar County, but despite trying to answer specific questions posed to her by her own viewership there in the area she's supposed to be living in and part of the community, she gets scolded by her own VP and news director, Susan Schiller, for being a bad reporter, for straying against the narrative, and for not doing the research of what the proper narrative was supposed to be, as opposed to following the story where it leads and giving all information available for all courses of treatment. But they were quick to try to shut the story down. She would also go ahead and get reprimanded by the assistant news director, Lee, I believe Meyer, if I'm pronouncing her name right. And that conversation was very revealing in terms of who they in the media, mainstream news, actually serve. Listen.
Assistant News Director Lee Meyer.
Everything's going to be under the microscope. You're not posting anything without Susan or I signing off on it.
Industry executives who are the people who hire us and keep us employed. That's the part that needs to make a difference to you. It's not just about the viewers. It's about what our CEO reads. It's about what our GM reads.
People everywhere are starting to wake up to a lot of the lies that are going out there. It's not that everything is a lie, but there is a lot of lies and a lot of propaganda being pushed, a singular narrative, and they are destroying dialogue. And one of the things I loved and my takeaway from the Ivory hacker interview that she did with James O'Keefe from Project Veritas, was that she and I think, had the same moment of awakening and or truth, like what happened in 2020. It happened after the White Coat Summit outside of the Supreme Court Justice House. That was only covered by Breitbart, by the way. No other media outlet would even touch that story with a 20-foot pole, or 100-foot pole for that matter. And the video from a lot of the doctors, including Dr. Simone and Dr. Emmanuel, went viral and then was suddenly wiped away from social media. And that was our both reckoning moment. Like, oh my God, I can't believe we've crossed that line where social media decided, okay, this dialogue from medical professionals, by the way, was not allowed in our public space, in our private sphere, despite the fact that you have Jack Dorsey and Twitter trying to argue how free access to the internet is a human right when they got canceled in Africa, or an African nation just a couple of weeks, I think about 2 weeks ago while I was on suspension. They get offended when they get canceled, but when they cancel someone else, apparently, it's okay. But I digress. They were all saying on social media leading up to the pandemic, don't listen to your friends on Facebook, listen to the medical doctors. And yet here you have medical experts coming forward and sharing their information, their concern about the narrative that they are hearing so far, and wanted to share their not just their expertise, but their facts of what they've done. And that was just being wiped away from all forms of social media. And that was scary, that was a precedent that was being started, a line that was crossed, and it's just gotten worse since then. So I'll play a little bit of the video so you can hear. It was a big expose. So I say that this is the Great Awakening because now you have this reporter, Ivory, who was like, you know what? This is what I've been a part of. This is what I'm doing. This is where we're headed. No, this isn't right. Let me inform the world. So this is her experience with Fox Corp, very similar to what we've already been exposed through Project Veritas with CNN, ABC. This is a problem with all major network news. And that is control of a propaganda, control of a singular narrative. And unfortunately, it's starting to hit YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as well, in terms of dialogue of any kind is not allowed if it goes against the grain, and they can use the cover of this pandemic and somehow medical information all of a sudden becomes a major threat that they need to protect you from. So that is why I am calling 2020 the year of perfect vision, of eyes being open, people waking up. You're starting to see, as you just heard from that audio from her assistant manager, or assistant vice president and news manager, Lee Meyer, that it's not about what the viewers want. At least not only about the viewers. What takes precedent, what matters the most, is what do the CEOs and the general managers want to hear, what they want to read, and therefore, by extension, what they want you, the viewers, to know, what they want you, the viewers, to hear. Only information that they themselves have confirmed based upon whatever biases, as opposed to allowing all information to flow freely. You also heard Lee indicate that they were going to be censoring her. So she was right to say in that little scoop that she was muzzled because they were literally trying to control what she could or could not post on social media, for instance. So she was under the microscope. She was being told what she could and could not say, what she could and could not cover. It was not a matter of meeting the needs of the people in her community and answering all of the questions that they themselves had. It's about speaking to a particular agenda, a particular message. That message is what they wanted to share and to put out in terms of treatment of during the pandemic, what was and what was not considered considerable treatment. And we have it here on YouTube too as well. There is no free dialogue. What's his name? Dr. Brett Weinstein, for instance, did a video discussing a particular drug that we're not allowed to talk about. And his video was recently deleted. This is a medical expert discussing all of the treatment options, and he is being taken down by YouTube executives with no medical degree, mind you, but they are sticking with a particular narrative, and they will not allow the conversation to be had to stray from that narrative. Anything that strays will get censored. That's how you can control a population, when you control what they know, what they see. But we really cannot let that happen. Big support and shout out to Ivory. I would recommend everyone also go to that website. I believe it's givesendgo.com/support Ivory. Go ahead and check that out too to show your support. She was just recently fired after making this big reveal through Project Veritas. I know she's going to land on her feet, but give props to the courage it does take to risk one's career and livelihood to expose the truth and help people wake up to some of the lies and give them the information that they need to know, because they are being deceived by what's on television. It's not that all of the information is wrong. That's not what I'm saying. It's not that it's all lies. It becomes problematic when you are trying to control the content of information. What they may be saying, there's a lot of validity to what you do here on the news. Problem is, they give no credence to anything else. They won't even allow that conversation to be had. Ignorance is, and I've said this before, ignorance is a choice, but you have forces at work that is making it incredibly harder and harder to get access to any information, to the point where ignorance will no longer be a choice because you won't have access to said information. So that's the video. This is me coming back, and thank you, Ivory Hacker, for giving me the topic to also cover and or discuss in my comeback video, because I believe there's just a lot of propaganda and censorship being had across all forms of media, unfortunately now, whether it be mainstream media, whether it be various aspects, obviously, of social media, which I've talked about at length before. But we need to counter the narrative, and we need to use the weapons that we do have available against them, to let them know we won't be the silent majority, I should say, anymore. Won't let the minority actually try to control perspective and or the conversation. So this is Bruce the Boss. Don't forget to smash on that subscribe button, like this video, comment on this video, share this video. I'm back. Peace.